Mm. And so what would the bill criminalise? The bill
The
would
bill would
criminalise
criminalise buying sex.
Right. Okay.
Right. So if you're buying sex, it would apply anywhere, but obviously buying sex on street is covered.
Mhm.
So this would be buying sex off street. So it was the intention to purchase. That's what would be covered. And then if women or the seller, if they were anywhere, they would be decriminalised. There would be no criminality whether you were on street or off street if you were selling sex. And the reason that that's the right thing to do is because we now conceptualize. I mean, we're still seeing it now because of the debate that we're getting in public to do with the rape and grooming gangs and to do with Epstein. There's a lot of commentary where people will use phrases like child prostitute and, oh, well, these girls, they chose that lifestyle. But we're talking about quite often 13 and 14-year-old girls. They're not making a choice to go into prostitution. There's no such thing as a child prostitute, if you think about it, because the age of consent is 16. So if you have sex with someone who's underage, that is statutory rape. There's no other way to explain it. So I think as a society, we are moving and we understand this better. We've still got quite a lot of work to do, I think, in the fact that I'm still seeing people online talking about child prostitutes when, that just does not exist. That's not a thing that we should be even saying. So
it's a horrible phrase.
It absolutely is. But that's how far we've come. When I was a girl, they would have written that in the papers. No one would have batted an eye. And this is what happened, that with those grooming gang girls, and again, some of this would be historic, some of it will be from 10 or 20 years ago, but I have a feeling that a lot of it's still happening today, that the police and the social workers turned a blind eye to what was happening to these 13-year-olds because they said they'd chosen it. Oh, well, they've chosen to do that. Now, I would say that, I've been a 13-year-old girl, that's a while ago now. They're children. Children do not make good decisions. That's why they have parents, so that parents can look out for them, protect them, and guide them into making the right decisions. And clearly, if you're 13 and you're being groomed into prostitution, that's not a choice that you've actively made to do that. Or if you think you've made that as a choice, potentially your vulnerabilities are so extreme and your options are so narrow that it seems like you're making the only choice that you've got available. But obviously, we would understand that now to be a very, very damaging choice that someone's made. I don't think it is a choice. I think these girls are getting drawn into this by I've spoken to a lot of victims in this area, and it's quite a sort of a sophisticated means of sort of pressure and shaming, maybe blackmail, money issues. There's this whole thing there, and especially, obviously, if you're very young, it's very hard to navigate that and understand what you could do and who you could go to help you when you're in that sort of situation. Let's say you're homeless. Who do you go to when someone's trying to pressure you into doing something you're not quite sure you want to do? So, yeah, these people they're very vulnerable. And in my opinion, if you're exploiting, you're paying for sex. And, I've had my Twitter has been an absolute sewer over the last year, to be quite honest. And in fact, the last week or so, I've had letters that have been sent to my constituency office that, honestly, we should just burn them, to be quite honest. And from sex buyers. And, they'll say, oh, I've done this and I've done that and it was great. And, she was great and I was great and I'm a great punter and all the rest of it. But they don't sign their name. So I think that they know that what they're doing is not good. And it's not, I don't think they feel good about what they're doing. They might tell themselves that they do. But I genuinely think that if these sex buyers were so pleased with, what they're doing, if they thought it was a value to society, then they wouldn't all be hiding behind anonymity. They would have their names on their X profiles. They would have come to the committee in the Scottish Parliament and they would have argued for their right to buy another human to masturbate into.